One thing that just annoys me about our industry is oh, you've got to do the McGill Big 3, or so-and-so's got the Big 10, or the Limber 11, or, you know, I feel like there's many great minds with many great warm-up routines, but the one thing that like people sort of forget is those are like stepping stones or building blocks to build your own, or eventually graduate from using someone's cookie cutter warm-up or general building block warm-up, which is a great place to start, into developing your own, or actually using some like training intuition in terms of like getting into the gym, seeing where your body's at on any given day, depending on what you're training or any given session, and warming up appropriately for that. It's less so about having a set in stone 4 or 5, 10, 11, 9, whatever the golden number that the Instagram person's going to sell to you to warm up for your session, but having a whole bunch of arrows in your quiver that you can throw at your body, dependent on the day that you're going to hit, dependent on how you're feeling on that given day. And it's fluid. It's got to change. It's got to move with you and how your body feels. Some days your body feels good. You might not need to warm up. You might not need to do those 11 exercises and waste 20 minutes of your session time that you could be getting stronger, you could be getting more jacked. But instead you're sitting on the floor stretching or doing thoracic rotation stuff when your thoracic rotation feels great today, right? So I think long term, or once you graduate and once you use these really valuable tools, these warm-ups that people give and that I give clients as well, once you graduate from using those given tools, those set in stone tools, and have a better understanding and better training intuition of yourself and your own body, and have better awareness of your own body, then you should be able to come into the session, sort of get a feel for how your body's feeling, and then just start to warm up appropriately for you on that given day, as opposed to wasting your time just doing what so-and-so said that you should be doing every single day before your session. So today's video, I'm gonna do exactly what I just gave other people shit for. No, I'm not. I'm gonna give you guys some warm-up stuff, and it's not your warm-up stuff. I'm just gonna run through my warm-up stuff. I'm gonna run through some of the things that I do on some of the days that I train, depending on how I'm feeling, all right? And it's not sexy, and it's not gonna sell on Instagram, Facebook, on YouTube. And it's not like, you must do this and you're gonna have 7-minute abs and be able to touch your fucking toes. I can't sell that, but what I can do is say, hey, these are some of the challenges that I've been finding at the moment with my given training and my body at this point in time. And these are some of the things that I do to combat it, right? So we'll go through some overhead stuff, we'll go through some lower body stuff, we'll go through some back stuff. I think the key thing to think about is mobility, stability, right? Like, I mean, we can look at like Jordan Shallow as being kind of the GOAT of this side of stuff at the moment, right? In terms of content and what he's putting out. But I think it's a good place to start, or the easiest place to start. How is your body feeling? Can it move around? Can it get into positions? Mobility. How is it feeling? Are you stable? Is it like, are you feeling any niggles anywhere? Are you feeling a lack of stability anywhere? Are you feeling a lack of mobility in the certain structures that you're about to train? And then start to address those in your warm up and use gatekeeper drills or something else that makes sure that when you're warming up, you can find those positions appropriately, you feel stable, and then you can start loading. The first one I'm gonna show you guys, the first thing I do on my lower body day is just a heels elevated kettlebell goblet squat. The reason I like these, forward knee translation, just opening up my hips. I might sit down there for the bottom for a little bit. I just focus on keeping my torso tall, my upper back relatively tight, and just moving through the range of just warming up the squat pattern pretty much. Lower body day is one of those ones where I find that I need to spend a little bit more time warming up my hips, my knees and stuff like that. And then like a deadlift day, I can pretty much just roll in. So each day is a little bit different depending on you and like what you need to work on specifically. So holding the kettlebell up nice and high, just come down. I drop with my hip and knee together, so breaking together. You can see I'm moving into this forward knee translation, deep hip squat with my elbows high, my upper back tight, and I'll just roll through that. Sort of 10 times at like a relatively light kettlebell. Big focus on keeping my hips stacked under my rib cage and locking down that position. The next one I do at the moment is just a hip airplane. sort of supported here. So I'll come over, hinge over into this position, and just kind of open up and come back to that start point. So opening up through the hip, stabilizing through this right leg, right glute, and then coming back to that start position, rotating and over. Lots of ways to progress that. I should do 8 on each side. Once I've done that, I sort of come over to this box. Now, I had progressed this to a higher box. I regressed this because my hip was giving me some issue, but I just sort of stand on the box. And then an eccentric step down. So coming here, keep my back leg, coming close to the box. Then I stand and stabilize through the front leg. Better than that, hopefully. And slowly come down, up. The alternate, or sometimes I might do like a front tap. So from here, I would come down. I'll just mix those up between like a back tap or like a back step down, or like bringing it to the side a little bit more, depending on what I'm trying to look for. At the moment, I just find the other one nice for my knees and just focusing on hip and knee stability. I might do like deeper ones or deeper side step downs if my knees are giving me more issue and they feel like they can tolerate it at the time. Then I do this little guy, just sort of do 8. So sitting here, I'm just gonna lift the leg over the block here, don't tap, bring it back over and back to the ground. And then the other side, a little bit easier for me on this side. Have some hip flexor pain at the moment, have some hip flexor issue, just throwing these remedial in to warm up the hip flexor and hopefully get on top of that. So a little bit of prehabilitation more than anything. At the moment, that's pretty much it for me, right? So at the moment, I would probably do 2 to 3 rounds of those goblet squats into the hip airplanes, straight into the step downs, 8 to 10 each side, and then these guys. Often I will do high rep leg extension or like isometric holds on the leg extension. I might do some backward pulls. If I'm squatting, which I'm not at the moment, I'll do the band pull aparts. I'll do some external rotation stuff. I'll get my shoulders and my chest opened up to squat. But at the moment, my sessions don't demand that I do a lot of extension stuff, even though I should be doing it more regularly, and we'll go through that in a second in my other days. But even though I should be doing it more regularly, I prioritize the lower body stuff for my hips and my knees on my lower body day because I don't have 30 minutes to warm up. I want to spend 10 minutes, I want to get into it, and I just want to make sure that I'm making a short-term improvement so I can get a better session in on that given day. So I do the extension stuff or like my thoracic extension rotation on the other days, but at this stage, I just do those 4 key exercises straight through. There's also no real trunk stuff there because I don't really feel like I've got an issue at the moment. Like at the moment, I know we don't want to be reactive, but I'm not doing anything that requires a huge amount of like trunk coordination or stability on my leg day, right? A lot of it is machine-based stuff or externally stabilized, so I just don't feel like I need to do it, so I don't.